This is a meeting of the Board of Assessors being recorded. And if anybody else present is doing the same thing, let me know. Okay, call to order, roll call of members.
Christina Summers, present.
Chuck Green, present.
Jim Geisman, present, and
Karen Marsh.
good. Okay, we looked over the minutes. Anybody have any changes, dates, corrections?
I move we approve the minutes.
Well, I'll second.
Yeah, okay.
All
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Public comment.
I move that we delay opening public comment until such time as we have a public to comment.
Okay, sounds good.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Uh,
I think we need to make it official. You're the parliamentarian.
I know, thank you. Not a responsibility I'm prepared to accept.
Okay.
I move, I don't take that.
Second. Okay, old business.
Uh-huh.
Well, adding building permits on the property record. How's that go?
Let me see. Our contractor says that he is done with the list we've provided. And I now have tools to double check against all the permits. So assuming that we don't find a treasure trove of ones we missed, that piece will be done and ready to move on to the next step. So that's kind of where we're at there. I want to double check that before we check that little box off, but other than that.
Okay, and that's through, is it connected through Munis or what?
Let me see. It's actually, the permits come in from Municity and I got access to that. And so I'm just double checking that with the ones Alex completed, making sure we haven't missed anything, and then we'll go from there.
Alex?
Alex is the contractor,
Oh,
our measuring lister.
okay.
The guy who drives around checking it, he's the new David.
He's the new David, or well, he's
Yes.
David A. Hopefully David B will, or actually.
Okay.
All right. So he was just driving around seeing, oh, here's a permit.
Yeah.
Yep, I see that. Oh, that's interesting. No permit.
He was doing some of that and then also correcting our cards to make sure that's right.
Great.
And making sure that the permits are reflected in the value. What's being built is reflected in the value for the change and all that. So I'm
Got
gonna
it.
make sure that we get that. And then,
I think we're really fortunate that he's doing that for us.
yes, we are very fortunate. He's really good. He's good.
Where did I come from?
He was a contact of Randy's that Randy had just found. And so Randy had just started, he's done assessing in other towns before, and he just wanted to break out on his own. And so he's really experienced. We're actually gonna have him help to train the next person if we get one.
Hey, yeah, can you guys remind me later on in this agenda when it's appropriate? Can we talk about department staffing?
Yeah. It is great.
Yeah. But in connection with that, Randy left 2 files for me that were being worked on by Adam.
Okay.
And I talked to Adam and sort of came up to speed on what the files were. One was your 5-year, your permit file, I think, Chuck.
Oh, yeah, the one that's like the biggest cost per value.
That is, Steve.
The
Yeah.
biggest,
Yeah.
the cost per value
Right.
sorted. Yeah,
And he was working up a square foot file to, so that we could adjust the square foot prices. And I haven't completely dug into it, but I've dug into it enough to know that he's Adam has flagged and commented on all of the properties that have pulled permits that are worth more than 40% of the valuation.
Okay. more
Yeah,
than
that-
40%.
Yeah, that was what the
Okay.
spreadsheet we're talking about that I did a couple years ago, where I did exactly that.
Okay,
I had the permit lists and I had the, basically the,
Valuations.
yeah, all, our database.
yeah,
And I connected them with the number, the property number or whatever,
Yeah.
not the address. the-
ID.
Parcel-
ID.
Yeah,
Parcel
parcel ID,
ID.
thank you. And then, yeah, I just divided one by the other and then did a sort.
Okay.
Just to see,
Okay.
if the permit was like 3 times the value of the property, that
Yeah.
suggests we should look at it.
yeah.
So that's what we're talking about, spreadsheet. But,
Okay.
does Christina have these 2 spreadsheets yet?
I'm not sure. I'll send.
Yeah, do you mind sending me?
I'm sure you have.
I probably have them in one form or another.
Yep.
But if you'll send me the form you've got, and then we can.
I'll be happy to. What I also wanted to add to that was, in addition to, comments that Adam made on each of the parcels that pulled permits, I sorted on the value of the permit.
Okay,
Also. And the whole object of this was to prioritize our site visits.
yeah. So I've got something similar, but if you've got something, I'll take a look at that too.
Okay, all right, that's great. All right, update on personal exemptions and chapter land application.
Still coming in,
Great.
Coming in.
More is better.
still coming in. Yeah.
And the status of permit inspections.
We were just talking about
We were just
that.
Talking about that.
Mhm.
Okay, an update on my outreach and community, provide information. What we haven't done is set a date for doing
The
the
GCC class.
GCC presentation.
Mhm.
And maybe we can do that, select a few dates and then I'll talk to Judy Raper at GCC, who is the outreach, the community engagement person.
Okay,
Do we have to do that calendaring in this meeting, or can we do it either in exec session or by email or something?
yeah, that sounds like a good plan.
Yeah, okay.
We're not gonna run afoul of OML by scheduling a meeting.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Okay, so now on to, review the hardship policy. I've come across an interesting case. This is a woman who owns a 2-family house, but the first floor is unrentable currently. And our hardship policy talks about single families, and it doesn't say anything about people that own and occupy multifamily. But I guess, and I'm asking for comments, advice on this. Do we need to update the policy to include multifamily? Or is a sort of a base assumption that anybody who owns a multifamily is getting rent and therefore, they couldn't apply for hardship?
Good. You wanna go ahead?
My opinion is that a duplex, I think, could be considered, but a 3-plex, 4-plex, and 5, anything above a duplex, I think then we have issues. What do you think?
Well, in a similar vein, I was gonna say, we shouldn't change the policy. The policy should still say only owners of single-family homes.
Okay.
But my understanding is this hardship thing is something we vote on.
Yeah.
So the policy is a guidance for us.
Okay.
It's not a law. So we can decide amongst ourselves in this particular case, well, it's really like a single family and just do it if we want to, not be restricted by that.
Okay, but that also raises the point that right now it's 102. And because you can't rent out the first floor, should it be a 101 until such time?
No, because it's possible to do so.
All right.
Yes,
Okay,
right. And if she ever does, then we wouldn't give her a hardship again.
no, understood. Yeah, and we can talk a little more about this in that executive session.
Okay.
All right, that's it for,
Can,
yes.
so the last item for old business, can we talk about department staffing a little?
Sure.
That would be under new business.
So
Well, new old business.
old,
Or old new
so-
business.
my impression was that our nominal staffing for the department now is chief, an assistant, and a clerk. And I only count 2.
Yeah.
So does that mean we're still trying to hire?
Yes, we had interviews this week and last week. And we submitted an offer to one of the candidates. I haven't heard if they've accepted, so I'm assuming that they have not accepted yet, but that happened like yesterday. So
And
it's
there
in the
would,
works.
there would be no barrier to considering our current contractor, Alex, if he did apply.
Um,
But he
I
wants to
would
be
love
off on
that.
his own.
I'm just saying,
No,
I would absolutely love
okay,
that.
just making
but I'm
sure
not
that there are
sure.
no barriers in case that
No.
ever were to occur.
Nope.
other than he has to apply.
Well, I just said barrier, I didn't say,
Okay,
right? Okay,
all right, great.
all right, yeah, so that's,
Now we're on to the assessor's calendar.
Okay. Okay,
And here we are in the end of September. I think,
yep.
well, let's just go through and the September, the CP1 report, the interim year adjustment.
The CP1, I believe, was done. So that one we got. The interim year adjustment, we haven't done those yet. I'm waiting to close everything out with permits and all of that, and I need to get that sales report done. So we are a little bit behind on that. I've been kind of doing things, I've been focusing on the 2 abatements that we have. And I've been doing some of the confirmation of the sales while I'm at it. So I'll have a better hold of that as we move forward. But yeah, we are a little bit late on that.
Yeah.
And we need to get it done.
Can you say more about the 2 abatements?
Yes. Let me see. I have some things to go over in executive session.
Okay,
But I do have a suggestion that we bring up. I was deep into the Mandel abatement.
one of you were deep into an abatement.
I was deep into an abatement. And one of the things that is becoming clear to me is, especially with people who file every year, you might want to consider requiring an appraisal so that they are coming to the table with some version of an legitimate argument that has anything to do with valuation.
are we allowed to do that?
I have done it in the other, I don't know if we're allowed to do it, but I have in the place where I was in Manchester, New Hampshire,
You can do
it
that.
was a requirement that before you could, that we would automatically deny the abatement and you couldn't go forward to the for the ATV unless you had an appraisal. So I thought I would bring that up just to see if that's something that we wanted to consider and do. Maybe we do more research on it, but I wanted to at least bring it up, especially on the people who file every year.
Yeah, I was gonna suggest, first, we should double check, that doesn't violate state law.
Okay,
On the, that you have to be able to appeal. And
I mean, they
then,
can appeal as long as they can appeal. It's just they need to bring something.
again, I'm saying, I don't know what the actual language is, but we should verify that. And then the second thing is, I actually wouldn't want to make that a requirement in general. Because I think there are a lot of people with very low means who come and they want very little abatements. And usually, of course, you can just do that over the counter. I mean, anytime you want, if they say my record card is wrong, you can just go fix it. And it's not an abatement. It's just,
Right.
it'll be fixed next time. But should there be a difference of opinion, I wouldn't want there to be a barrier. I mean, I just had an appraisal done, right, last year. And I mean, that was a multi-$1,000,
Yes.
event. I mean, we can't. I think our intent here is, like you say, the people who keep doing it every year or people who have a lot of property or whatever. So if we want to make that a requirement that we're not putting in a, like saying to a specific person, but having a generalized policy, maybe we could do some threshold of value that they're requesting. If you're requesting an abatement of more than X, then you have to have an appraisal or some other means to make it that it only applies, that it doesn't apply to people who deserve to be able to request it and don't have the means to get an appraisal.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And I think people that are filing for abatements that are 1%, 2%, a very small percentage of the current valuation probably should be treated differently than people that are wanting a major consideration.
Okay.
So,
On the other hand, though, to cancel my own argument based on what you just said, the people who are repeat filers sometimes only nip and tuck year after year. So
but
maybe
you
we
get them
should,
on the repeat, the repeat.
because it stacks up, you mean?
No, the point is if somebody's going to file for an abatement every year, the first year, the second year, they take a nibble, couple of nibbles. And then the third year, if they're going to do the same thing, that's when we can.
So you're saying we should put into policy two things. One, if the value is more than X, and two, if you've applied for an abatement sometime in the last X years.
Yeah,
So if either of those things are true, we have the right to ask for them to bring an appraisal. Is what
Yeah.
you're suggesting?
Well, I'm thinking, people that have done it, like, twice in 4
Yeah,
years
yeah,
or
well,
something
obviously,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah,
So-
but I think that's, if we have the flexibility of asking for that, I
Yeah.
think that makes sense.
Again, if we're allowed to.
Yeah.
What do you think of these ideas?
I think that's good. I was kind of going for, balancing what you had said, because I think it's a very valid point that we don't want to means test this.
Yeah.
And appraisals are extremely expensive.
Yeah,
They are very expensive.
Yeah.
But we also need that data so bad. We need that data, even if we just straight up need the data. But I like the idea of doing it for, if you filed more than twice in 2 years, then you need to come to the table with an
You
appraisal.
can't file
Mhm.
more than twice in 2 years.
Well, that's kind of my point. If you're filing for the third year, you should have an appraisal.
so yeah, leave it up to your discretion as to that number. And although Jim and I were a lot harsher, if you filed any time in the last 4 years, you're asking again.
Well, and I think the market is moving fast enough
Yeah.
that I can see that tripping us up.
Yeah, well, leave it to your
but I-
discretion.
But it's the one time, okay, yeah, maybe we give that one to you because you don't know the system. The second time, that's when things are getting iffy. The third time, you need to bring an appraisal. That's kind
Okay.
of what I'm thinking.
And then I would also leave to your discretion if you wanted to put a value number, if they're asking more than a certain value.
Value
Yeah,
or
I like that.
percent of value.
Yeah, or
Percent of
percent of value
Yeah.
or whatever, again, to your discretion. We'll keep it at a high level here.
I'll figure it out and maybe I'll come to the table next time.
Yeah.
So,
But the
Some
key
pointers.
is whether or not depends on whether we can't, whether it's.
yes,
Yeah, yeah.
whether it's legal. And also we can fiddle with the language too as to what an appraisal is. Maybe it
Mhm.
doesn't need to come from an official appraiser. It's just their arguments need to be based in value, like actual, like real data value.
What about, anybody who files for an abatement automatically gets an on-site inspection?
That's another one that I,
But we're already doing that.
I'm not sure whether we are or not.
So that seemed like a no-brainer.
Yeah,
I mean, and I'm not suggesting, people that have a real claim, they say, I only have 4 rooms.
You mean an
No.
over the counter? Yeah, that you're not suggesting, we don't have to do that. If you on your discretion fix something on somebody's card and change its value that way, that's, you don't need nothing for that. But yeah, if someone is coming and you don't agree, and so they need to file an abatement, then
then yeah.
I mean, if they file an abatement and we don't see that it is substantiated or sufficiently justified, then we can trigger an on-site, but I think we can do that anytime.
I think we can do that anytime. Yeah, so we can do that anytime. And, yeah, so I have furthermore to say on the topic in the executive session.
okay. But
But I think this is a good framework for more generalities as to what we want to apply to pretty much everybody.
Randy used to say that if someone applied for an abatement and they wouldn't let him in to inspect, that he would just assume that everything inside was gold plated.
That sounds like a great assumption to me.
That's the law, though. I'm sorry to interrupt, but that's the law. When you file for an abatement, I read it. You have to let somebody in.
Okay.
All right,
Makes
No,
sense to me.
I know, because I've done them.
good, thank you. Okay, going back to the calendar from the sales report, that hasn't been, you're behind. on
No,
that?
Randy started it on both ends. And I'm adding to it, but it is not finalized. Yeah, so we're still working on that one.
Well, if you need any sort of analytic support, let me know.
Okay, thanks.
And begin the certification process with BLA?
Let me see. That kind of, it dovetails into the other thing. So we've got to get our permits done and our sales done,
Okay,
and then we can get that started.
okay. And preliminary certification of values, I guess we can't.
Yeah,
We can't move
that's-
ahead on that until we.
Yeah. But I have all the tools to get it done now, so
Cool, cool.
hopefully it'll start flowing
Okay,
nicely.
that's great. So much for the calendar. ATP cases?
Yay.
Mandel was, but what?
We have one case?
We have two, yeah,
Two, okay.
we have
Okay,
two.
which we will discuss in
Yeah.
executive.
We will discuss in those executive sessions, however, both have been scheduled with the HB.
All right. No other topics?
Do we have stuff to sign before we go into exec? Like excise weeks or something?
Yes.
Okay, do it.
We didn't get printed last week, so
And that's,
You want to start, Sharon?
Huh.
what's today? The first.
It is,
Jeez.
and it finally feels like fall.
There you go. Okay. So, should we go into executive session?
I second that motion.
Okay, here we are. Okay.
We're all in
so
favor then.
We're all in favor. I'm sorry, you guys can't.
Okay.
Shut the door.
I'm just, you have the reason that
Turn that on.
going into executive session. You list the
We-
number and then your roll call. The reason why you, it's one of 10 reasons, I think.
got abatement,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, we have to talk about,
Out loud, I think.
well, we have to talk about things that involve people's personal information that shouldn't be public.
Right. And I'm gonna raise issues about personal circumstances, so. But no, you're welcome. to.
Oh, okay, okay. You guys are in the chain of command. Close it, please.
Yeah, so with that,
Yes, stop recording.
we are concluding the public session. In fact, I'm just gonna end the session.